Have you ever looked around the gym and noticed some people train for years, yet their bodies barely change? Maybe you've even felt that frustration yourself, sweating, lifting, pushing, and still wondering, why am I not growing any muscle? I remember one guy at my old gym, let's call him Mike. He was the most consistent person there, always first in, last out, but for years he looked exactly the same. Why? Because Mike was unknowingly making a few crucial mistakes that held him back. And here's the truth. Building muscle isn't just about lifting heavy weights. It's about avoiding the traps that sabotage progress. Some mistakes are so common that almost every beginner makes them, and even experienced lifters fall into them when life gets stressful or routines get stale. So in today's video, I want to pull back the curtain on the most common gym mistakes that stop muscle growth, or worse, cause you to lose the hard-earned gains you've built. By the end, you'll not only recognize these mistakes, but also know how to fix them, so you can finally start seeing the muscle definition, strength, and energy you've been chasing. Stick with me, because chances are, you've been making at least one of these errors without realizing it. Here's the thing. Working out is not just about vanity. Sure, we all want to look strong, lean, and confident in the mirror. But muscle is so much more than appearance. It protects your joints, supports your posture, boosts your metabolism, and even keeps your heart healthy. Now imagine dedicating months, or even years, to training, only to realize you've been spinning your wheels because of small, avoidable mistakes. That's heartbreaking. It's like planting seeds every day, but never watering them. You'll never see the garden bloom. The truth is, the difference between those who make progress and those who stay stuck often comes down to awareness. The people who grow are the ones who understand not just what to do, but also what not to do. And here's the emotional side. When you feel like you're not growing despite giving your all, motivation drops. You start doubting yourself, maybe even quitting altogether. And that's the last thing I want for you. That's why today's video is so important. By uncovering these mistakes, you'll save yourself years of frustration. You'll train smarter, protect your body, and actually enjoy the process again. Because fitness should feel rewarding. Mistake number 1, training with poor form. Let's start with the number 1 culprit, bad form. We've all seen it, the guy half squatting with a barbell stacked too high, or the person yanking dumbbells so fast it looks like they're trying to start a lawnmower. It might feel powerful in the moment, but in reality, poor form cheats your muscles out of growth and puts you at serious risk of injury. Here's the science. When you use bad form, other muscles, not the ones you're targeting, take over. For example, if your squat is shallow, your quads and glutes don't fully activate. If you bench press with flared elbows, you strain your shoulders instead of building your chest. Over time, you get stronger at being inefficient, but your body doesn't change the way you want. A good analogy, imagine filling a balloon with air, but half the air leaks out through a hole. That's bad form. You're working hard, but the effort isn't going where it should. Now, the fix is simple but requires humility. Lower the weight, slow down, and focus on feeling the muscle work. Ask a trainer or friend to watch your form. Film yourself if needed. And remember, quality always beats quantity. Mike, the guy I mentioned earlier, used to ego lift every day. Once he corrected his form, using half the weight, he finally saw results he'd been missing for years. Sometimes less really is more. Mistake number 2, not sleeping enough. 330 words. Here's a truth bomb. Your muscles don't grow in the gym. They grow while you sleep. During deep sleep, your body releases growth hormone, the magic chemical that repairs and builds muscle fibers after a tough workout. If you're only sleeping 4 to 5 hours a night, you're robbing your body of the very fuel it needs to recover and grow. Think of it like charging your phone. You can use the newest iPhone with the fastest apps, But if you never let it fully recharge, it's useless. That's your body without proper sleep, running on low battery. Studies show that lack of sleep not only stalls muscle growth, but also raises cortisol, the stress hormone that breaks down muscle tissue. That's right. Sleep less, and you're literally undoing your gains. So what can you do? Aim for 7-9 hours of quality sleep. Create a bedtime routine. Dim the lights, put away screens, and keep your room cool and quiet. Even a 20-minute nap during the day can make a huge difference. I had a client who lifted hard, ate right, but only slept 5 hours because of late-night work. Once we fixed his sleep, his strength skyrocketed, without changing his workouts. That's how powerful rest can be. Mistake number 3, not eating enough protein. 330 words. You can't build a brick house without bricks, right? Well, protein is the brick of muscle. Without enough of it, your body simply cannot grow stronger. Here's the science simplified. When you train, you create tiny tears in your muscle fibers. Protein provides the amino acids that patch up those tears, making the muscle thicker and stronger. Without enough protein, the tears stay unhealed. Or worse, your body starts breaking down muscle for energy. The common mistake is thinking, I eat enough already. But when you calculate it, many people barely hit half of what they need. For muscle growth, you should aim for roughly 1.6–2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight daily. That's about 120 to 160 grams for the average adult. Practical tip: spread your protein across the day. Have eggs or Greek yogurt for breakfast, chicken or fish at lunch, beans or tofu at dinner, and maybe a protein shake as a snack. I remember a woman who trained hard every morning, but wondered why she wasn't getting toned. Turned out, her post-workout breakfast was just coffee and toast. Once she added eggs and cottage cheese, her body transformed within months. Don't let protein be your missing link. Mistake number 4, too much cardio. Cardio is fantastic for your heart, lungs, and overall health. But when your goal is building muscle, too much cardio can backfire. Here's why. Cardio burns calories, a lot of them. If you're running marathons every week, your body is in survival mode, prioritizing endurance over muscle growth. Instead of building, it starts conserving energy, sometimes even breaking down muscle tissue as fuel. Think of it like trying to save money while spending every dollar you earn. You'll never build wealth, and in this case, wealth is muscle mass. This doesn't mean you should ditch cardio completely. The key is balance. Do 2–3 moderate sessions per week, like cycling, brisk walking, or 20–30 minutes of jogging. That's enough for heart health without sabotaging gains. If your main goal is muscle, strength training should take center stage. Use cardio as a supporting actor, not the star of the show. A friend of mine trained for a half marathon while trying to bulk up. He couldn't understand why his muscles were shrinking. Once he cut back on cardio and shifted focus to lifting, his body started changing in weeks. Remember, cardio keeps you alive. Strength training makes you thrive. Mistake number 5, no progressive overload. 330 words. One of the golden rules of muscle growth is progressive overload, gradually increasing the challenge you put on your muscles. Without it, you're just coasting. Here's the analogy. Imagine trying to learn a new language, but only studying the alphabet over and over. You'll never become fluent. Similarly, if you bench the same weight for the same reps week after week, your body adapts and stops growing. Muscle thrives on challenge. That could mean lifting heavier weights, doing more reps, adding sets, or reducing rest time. Even small tweaks matter, like slowing down the tempo or switching to a tougher variation. The key is consistency. Keep a log of your workouts. Did you squat 100 pounds for 10 reps last week? Try 105 this week, or 11 reps. Small progress adds up like compound interest. One of my clients kept plateauing at 135-pound bench press for months. Once we applied progressive overload, adding just 5 pounds each week, he broke past his limit and hit 185 within 3 months. Growth is about nudging your comfort zone. Don't live in easy mode. Mistake number 6. High stress levels. 30 words. Stress is like a silent thief. It sneaks in and robs you of your progress. When you're under constant stress, your body produces cortisol. A little cortisol is fine, but chronically high cortisol breaks down muscle and stores fat, especially around the belly. It also wrecks your recovery, energy, and even motivation to train. Think of stress like carrying a backpack filled with rocks. You might still move forward, but you're exhausted and slower. Over time, it weighs you down until you stop altogether. Many lifters ignore this piece of the puzzle. They train harder, eat cleaner, but forget their lifestyle outside the gym. Poor work-life balance, toxic relationships, or lack of downtime can sabotage results. The fix: prioritize recovery, not just for your body, but also your mind. Meditate, take walks in nature, practice deep breathing, or spend quality time with loved ones. Even 10 minutes of mindful relaxation daily can lower cortisol levels. I had a client who worked in finance, long hours, high pressure. No matter how hard he trained, his body didn't change. Once he started journaling and taking 15-minute breaks during work, his stress dropped, and suddenly, his muscle gains showed. Remember, building muscle isn't. Mistake number 7. Ignoring recovery. 330 words. Here's a truth many lifters hate to hear. Muscles grow during rest, not during workouts. Training creates the stimulus, but recovery is when the magic happens. If you're in the gym 7 days a week, hammering the same muscles, you're not building, you're breaking. Imagine trying to build a house while the cement is still wet. If you keep stacking bricks without letting it set, the whole structure collapses. That's what happens when you skip recovery. Signs of poor recovery include constant soreness, fatigue, poor sleep, and even declining performance. Your body is waving a red flag, begging for rest. So what should you do? Schedule rest days. Rotate muscle groups so each has time to heal. Prioritize stretching, mobility work, and maybe even massage or foam rolling. And yes, nutrition and sleep are part of recovery too. There's a reason elite athletes have recovery protocols as strict as their training programs. Because they know without rest, there are no results. One of my younger clients used to brag about training every single day, but he was always sore and stuck at the same weights. Once we forced him to rest 2 days per week, he started progressing again. Sometimes, less is. Mistake number 8. Skipping compound movements. 30 words. If your workouts are filled with only bicep curls and leg extensions, you're missing out on the true muscle-building gold. Compound exercises. Compound movements, like squats, deadlifts, bench presses, pull-ups, and rows, work multiple muscle groups at once. This not only builds more muscle in less time, but also triggers a greater release of anabolic hormones like testosterone and growth hormone. Think of isolation exercises as seasoning. They add flavor. But compound lifts are the main course. Without them, your muscle-building recipe is incomplete. Another benefit? Functional strength. Compound lifts mimic real-life movements, picking things up, pushing, pulling, making you stronger, not just in the gym, but in everyday life. Now, this doesn't mean you should abandon curls or lateral raises. Those are great accessories. But your foundation should always be built on compound lifts. I had a client who only did machines and small dumbbell moves. He wondered why his body wasn't changing. Once we built a program around squats, deadlifts, and presses, his strength and size skyrocketed. If you want muscle, don't skip the big lifts. So there you have it. The most common mistakes holding back your muscle growth. From poor form to lack of sleep, from neglecting protein to ignoring progressive overload, each of these errors chips away at your progress like termites eating wood. One or two might not ruin the house, but together they can destroy your foundation. The good news? Every mistake can be fixed, and once you do, the results come faster, smoother, and with way less frustration. Remember, building muscle is not about working harder. It's about working smarter. Pay attention to your form. Fuel your body with protein. Rest deeply. Manage stress. Challenge yourself with progressive overload. And always, always respect recovery. Your body is capable of more than you think. Don't let small mistakes steal that potential. If you found yourself nodding along and realizing, wow, I'm guilty of some of these, don't worry. You're not alone. We've all been there. The key is to recognize it and start making changes today. So here's what I want you to do. Drop a comment below and tell me which mistake you've been making the most. Was it lack of sleep? Too much cardio? Maybe forgetting progressive overload? Let's share and learn from each other. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more wellness and fitness content, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out. Remember this quote: it's not the hours you put in at the gym, but what you put into those hours that makes the difference. Train smart, recover well, and your muscles will thank you.